Good morning. In the last lecture, we have started the chapter rolling contact bearing and we have covered what is what are the different types of rolling contact bearing, then how to select bearing, then we have seen static load carrying capacity. Also we have seen different types of rolling contact bearings, their applications, how they are carrying the different types of loads, that is radial load, axial load. Therefore, today we will see Strybeck's equation. Strybeck's equation gives the static load carrying capacity of bearing. It is based on the following assumptions. First, the races are rigid and retain their circular shape. The balls are equally spaced. The and third, the balls in the upper half do not support any load. Now, this figure 15.6 shows the forces acting on the inner race through the rolling elements which support the static load CO. It is assumed that there is a single row of balls. Considering the equilibrium of forces in the vertical direction, therefore we are getting CO is equal to P1 plus 2P2 cos beta plus 2p3 cos of 2 beta, because on both sides p2 and p2 are there, p3 are there, that's why 2p2 2p3, and this is angle beta, this is angle 2 beta. Therefore this is the equation A. Now as the races are rigid, only balls are deformed. Suppose d1 is the deformation at the most heavily stressed ball number 1, sorry, it is delta 1. Due to this deformation, the inner race is deflected with respect to the outer race through delta 1 as shown in figure 15.6b. The center of the inner ring moves from O to O dash through the distance delta 1. This distance is also O dash is also delta 1 without changing its shape. Suppose delta 1 delta 2 are radial deflections at the respective balls. Therefore delta 2 is equal to delta 1 cos beta, or delta 2 upon delta 1 is equal to cos beta. According to Hertz equation, the relationship between the load and deflection at each ball is given by delta is directly proportional to p raised to 2 by 3. Therefore delta 1 is equal to c1 p1 raised to 2 by 3, and delta 2 is equal to c1 p2 raised to 2 by 3. Therefore delta 2 upon delta 1 is equal to p2 upon p1 raised to 2 by 3. Equation C. Therefore from equation B and C, p2 upon p1 raised to 2 by 3 is equal to cos beta. Therefore p2 is equal to p1 into cos of beta raised to 3 by 2. In a similar way, p3 is equal to p1 cos of 2 beta raised to 3 by 2. Therefore substituting these values, that is values of p2 and p3 in equation A, we are getting CO is equal to P1 plus 2 into bracket P1 cos of beta raised to 3 by 2 into cos of beta plus 2 into bracket P1 cos of 2 beta raised to 3 by 2 into cos of 2 beta plus dot dot dot. Therefore CO is equal to P1, we have taken P1 common outside, therefore P1 into bracket 1 plus 2 cos of beta raised to 5 by 2 plus 2 cos of 2 beta raised to 5 by 2 plus dot dot dot. Therefore CO is equal to P1 into M, where M is equal to into bracket 1 plus 2 cos beta raised to 5 by 2 plus 2 cos beta 2 cos 2 beta raised to 5 by 2 plus dot dot dot. Equation E. If Z is the number of balls, therefore beta is equal to 360 divided by Z. The values of M for different values of Z are tabulated as below. Therefore Z M for Z is equal to 8, M is equal to 1.84. For 10 it is 2.28. For 12, it is 2.75. For 15, it is 3.47. Now Z divided by M is equal to, we are getting 4.35, 4.38, 4.36, 4.37. Therefore, it is seen from the above table that Z divided by M is practically constant. Strybeck suggested the value for Z divided by M as 5. Therefore, or M is equal to Z divided by 5. Therefore, substituting this value in equation D, we are getting CO is equal to 1 divided by 5 into Z into P1 equation F. From experimental evidence, it is found that the force P1 required to produce a given permanent deformation of the ball is given by P1 is equal to KD square equation G, where D is the ball diameter and factor K depends upon the radius of curvature at the point of contact and on the moduli of elasticity of materials. From equations F and G, CO is equal to KD squared Z divided by 5. The above equation is known as Strybeck's equation. Now we will see dynamic load carrying capacity. The life of a ball bearing is limited by the fatigue failure at the surfaces of balls and races. The dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing is therefore based on the fatigue life of the bearing. The life of an individual ball bearing is defined as the number of revolutions or hours of service at some given constant speed, which the bearing runs before the first evidence of fatigue crack in balls or races. Since the life of a single bearing is difficult to predict, it is necessary to define the life in terms of the statistical average performance of a group of bearings. Bearings are rated on one of the two criteria. First, the average life of a group of bearings, or the life which 90% of the bearings will reach or exceed. The second criterion is widely used in bearing industry. One minute. From someone's mobile or noise is coming, just to check. Please make your phone on mute position. Therefore, the rating life of a group of apparently identical ball bearings is defined as the number of revolutions that 90% of the bearings will complete or exceed before the first evidence of fatigue crack. There are a number of terms used for this rating life. They are minimum life, catalog life, L10 life, or B10 life. These terms are synonyms for rating life. In this chapter, we will use the term L10 life. The life of an individual ball bearing may be different from rating life. Statistically, it can be proved that the life which 50% of a group of bearings will complete or exceed is approximately 5 times the rating or L10 life. This means that for the majority of bearings, the actual life is considerably more than the rated life. The dynamic load carrying capacity of a bearing is defined as the radial load in radial bearings or thrust load in thrust bearings that can be carried for a minimum revolution for a minimum life of 1 million revolutions. The minimum life in this definition is the Raj Wagmare, please mute your phone. Hello, Raj Wagmare, please mute your phone. Therefore, the dynamic load carrying capacity of a bearing is defined as the radial load in radial bearings or thrust load in thrust bearings that can be carried for a minimum life of 1 million revolutions. 1 minute. Now, again I will start. The dynamic load carrying capacity of a bearing is defined as the radial load in radial bearings or thrust load in thrust bearings that can be carried for a minimum life of 1 million revolutions. The minimum life in this definition is the L10 life, which 90% of the bearings will reach or exceed before fatigue failure. The dynamic load carrying capacity is based on the assumption that the inner race is rotating while the outer race is stationary. The formulae for calculating the dynamic load capacity for different types of bearings are given in standards. However, the manufacturer's catalogs give ready-made values of dynamic load capacities of bearings. Now, equivalent bearing load. In actual applications, the force acting on the bearing has two components, radial and thrust. It is therefore necessary to convert the two components acting on the bearing into a single hypothetical load, fulfilling the conditions applied to the dynamic load carrying capacity. Then the hypothetical load can be compared with the dynamic load capacity. The equivalent dynamic load is defined as the constant radial load in radial bearings or thrust load in thrust bearings, which if applied to the bearing would give same life as that which the bearing will attain under actual condition of forces. The expression for the equivalent dynamic load is written as P is equal to x v into Fr plus y into Fa, where P is equal to equivalent equivalent dynamic load in Newton. Fr is equal to radial load in Newton. Fa is equal to axial or thrust load in Newton. V is equal to race rotation factor. X and Y are radial and thrust factors respectively, and their values are given in the manufacturer's catalog. The race rotation factor depends upon whether the inner race is rotating or the outer race. The value of V is 1 when the inner race rotates while the outer race is held stationary in the housing. The value of V is 1.2 when the outer race rotates with respect to the load while the inner race remains stationary. In most of the applications, the inner race rotates and the outer race is fixed in the housing. Assuming V as unity, the given general equation for the equivalent dynamic load is given by P is equal to XFR plus YFA. In this chapter, we will use the above equation for calculating equivalent dynamic load. The effect of V should be considered in special cases where the outer race rotates and the inner race is stationary. When the bearing is subjected to pure radial load Fr, therefore P is equal to Fr. When the bearing is subjected to pure thrust load Fa, then P is equal to Fa. Now, load life relationship. The relationship between the dynamic load carrying capacity, the equivalent dynamic load, and the bearing life is given by L10 is equal to C divided by P raised to small p, where L10 is equal to rated life in million revolutions, C is equal to dynamic load carrying capacity in Newton, and P is equal to 3 for ball bearings, P is equal to 10 divided by 3 for roller bearings. Now rearranging the equation, we are getting C is equal to P into L10 raised to 1 upon P. For all types of ball bearings, C is equal to P into L10 raised to 1 by 3. For all types of roller bearings, C is equal to P into L10 raised to 0.3. The relationship between life in million revolutions and life in working hours is given by L10 is equal to 60 n into L10h divided by 10 raised to 6, where L10h is equal to rated bearing life in hours and small n is equal to speed of rotation in RPM. Now, based upon this, we will solve example. Based, based upon this, we will solve example. Therefore, example 1. In a particular application, the radial load acting on a ball bearing is 5 kilonewton and the expected life for 90% of the bearings is 8000 hour. Calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing when the shaft rotates at 1450 rpm. Therefore, first of all, write down the given quantities. First of all, write down the given quantities. I think you are writing. Please write down the problem. Now solution. Given data will write first of all. Now load they are given that therefore P is equal to 5 kilonewton. 5 kilonewton which is equal to 5000 Newton. Then RPM they are given small n is equal to 1450 RPM. Then LH they are given is equal to 8000 H hours. Now first of all we will calculate L, that is life in million revolutions. Therefore L is equal to 60 into N into LH divided by 10 raised to 6, which is equal to 60 into 1450 into 8000 divided by 10 raised to 6. Therefore L is equal to 696. Please do the calculations just to check. 696 million revolutions. Million revolutions. Now we have to calculate dynamic load carrying capacity. That is, we have to calculate value of C. Calculate the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing. Therefore, we have to calculate value of C. Therefore, what is our equation? This is which type of bearing? This is the ball bearing. This is which bearing? Ball bearing. Therefore, what is the formula? L is equal to C upon P raised to 3. C upon P raised to 3. Therefore, C is equal to P into L raised to 1 by 3. Therefore, substitute the values 5000 into 696 raised to 1 by 3. Therefore, C is equal to, please calculate what is the answer. Tell me.
1.16 into 10 raised to 6.
How much? No, again you check.
1.16 into 10 raised.
It should be 44,000 something. Please check. What is the answer? Please check. Hello.
No, sir, it is 1.16 into 10 raised to 6.
1.16. 5000 into 696 raised to 1 by 3. Whether it is correct, anyone can confirm. Pranay, what is the?
44.31 into 10 raised to 3.
Yes, that is correct. Please check. Huh? Please do the calculation properly. Don't be hurry. 44.31 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Because it is dynamic load carrying capacity. It is load. That's why unit is in Newton. Therefore, this is the answer. Now, next problem. Write down the problem. Example 2. A taper roller bearing has a dynamic load capacity of 26 Newton kilonewton. The desired life for 90% of the bearings is 8000 hour and the speed is 3000 rpm. Calculate the equivalent radial load that the bearing can carry. Calculate the equivalent radial load that the bearing can carry. Therefore, solution. Given data. Therefore, please write down the given quantities. We have to calculate equivalent radial load. Now they have given first of all dynamic load capacity 26 kilonewton means value of C they have given. C is equal to 26 kilonewton which is equal to 26,000 Newton. Now LH they have given. LH. LH is equal to again 8,000 hours. Now they have given RPM. N is equal to 300 RPM. Now we have to calculate value of P. Therefore, L is equal to L is equal to 60 into N into LH divided by 10 raised to 6 which is equal to 60 into 300 into 8000 divided by 10 raised to 6. Therefore, L is equal to, please calculate what is the life in million revolutions.
144.
144 million revolutions. 144 million revolutions. Now again, this is which type of bearing? Roller bearing. Therefore, write down roller bearing. Now, if it is roller bearing, what is the relation between life in million revolutions C and P? That is L is equal to C divided by P bracket raised to 10 by 3. Therefore, C upon P is equal to L raised to zero point 0.3. Now we have to calculate P. Therefore, P is equal to C divided by L raised to 0.3, which is equal to C is 26,000 divided by 144 raised to 0.3. Therefore, P is equal to, what is the value of P?
Five point 85 into 10 raised to 3.
Therefore, write down 5.85 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. 5.85 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Therefore, this is our answer of equivalent radial load that the bearing can carry. Therefore, please, those who are not writing, please write down. I will wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, I think you have written. Now, next point is selection of bearing life. Selection of bearing life. Therefore, while selecting the proper size of a bearing, it is necessary to specify the expected life of the bearing for the given application. The information regarding the life expectancy is generally vague and values based on past experience are used. For all kinds of vehicles, the speed of rotation is not constant and the desired life is expressed in terms of millions of revolutions. The recommended bearing life for wheel applications is given in table 15.1. Now table 15.1 indicates bearing life for wheel applications. First column is wheel application, second column is life in million revolution. Now automobile cars it is 50, trucks 100, trolley cars 500, railroad cars 1000. In the other applications, the speed of rotation is relatively constant and the desired life is expressed in terms of hours of service. The recommended bearing life for some of the applications is given in table 15.2. Therefore, table 15.2 bearing life for industrial applications. First, machines used intermittently such as lifting tackle, hand tools, and household appliances 4,000 to 8,000 hour. Machines used for 8 hours of service per day, such as electric motors and gear drives 12,000 to 20,000 hour. Third, machines used for continuous operation 24 hours per day, such as pumps, compressors, and conveyors 40,000 to 60,000 hour. The values given in the above tables are only for general guidance. For a particular application, the designer should consider the past experience and the difficulties faced by the customer in replacing the bearing and the economics of breakdown cost, dynamic load due to inaccuracies of the tooth profile, and the elastic deformation of teeth. In chain and belt drives, the dynamic load is due to vibrations. The values of load factor are given in table 15.3. Therefore, table 15.3 values of load factor. First column is types of drive, second column is load factor. Therefore, gear drives in that first rotating machines free from impact like electric motors and turbo compressors 1.2 to 1.4. Second, reciprocating machines like internal combustion engines and compressors 1.4 to 1.7. Third, impact machines like hammer mills 2.5 to 3.5. Then belt drives, V belts 2.0, single ply leather belt 3.0, double ply leather belt 3.5. Then chain drives 1.5. The values of the load factor given in the above table are used in the absence of precise analysis of dynamic forces. Now, next point is selection of bearing from manufacturer's catalog. The basic procedure for the selection of a bearing from the manufacturer's catalog consists of the following steps. First, calculate the radial and axial forces acting on the bearing and determine the diameter of the shaft where the bearing is to be fitted. Second, select the type of bearing for the given application. Third, determine the values of x and y, the radial and thrust factors from the catalog. The values of x and y factors for single row deep groove ball bearings are given in table 15.4. The values depend upon two ratios, Fa upon Fr and Fa upon Co, where CO is the static load capacity. The selection of the bearing is therefore done by trial and error. The static and dynamic load capacities of single row deep groove ball bearings of different series are given in table 15.5. To begin with, a bearing of light series such as 60 is selected for the given diameter of the shaft and the value of CO is found from table 15.5. Knowing the ratios Fa upon Co and Fa upon Fr, the values of x and y factors are found from table 15.4. Next, calculate the equivalent dynamic load from the equation P is equal to x Fr plus y Fa. The next step, make a decision about the expected bearing life and express the life L10 in million revolutions. Sixth step, calculate the dynamic load capacity from the equation C is equal to P into L10 raised to 1 by 3. Then next, check whether the selected bearing of series 60 has the required dynamic capacity. If not, select the bearing of the next series and go back to step 3 and continue. Ball bearings are thus selected by the trial and error procedure. The above procedure is also applicable to other types of bearings. Now table 15.4 indicates x and y factors for single row deep groove ball bearing. Therefore first column is Fa upon Co, second column is Fa upon Fr less than equal to E. X and y factors are there. Third column Fa upon Fr greater than E, x and y factors and E is there. Therefore for different values sample I will read 0.025 1 0 0.56 2 0.22 0.70 1 0 0.56 1.6 0.27 0.25 1 0 0.56 1.2 0.37 0.5 1 0 0.56 1.44. In order to explain the selection procedure, let us consider a numerical example. Suppose it is required to select a single row deep groove ball bearing for a shaft that is 75 mm in diameter and which rotates at 125 rpm. The bearing is subjected to a radial load of 21 kN and there is no thrust load. The expected life of the bearing is 10,000 hours. Step 1, Fr is equal to 21,000 Newton, Fa is equal to 0, diameter D is equal to 75 mm. Step 2, type single row deep groove ball bearing. Step 3, since there is no axial load, P is equal to Fr which is equal to 21,000 Newton. Step 4, L10 is equal to 60 Ln 60 N L10H divided by 10 raised to 6. Therefore substituting the values 60 into 125 into 10,000 divided by 10 raised to 6. Therefore L10 we are getting 75 million revolutions. Now step 5, dynamic load carrying capacity C is equal to P into L10 raised to 1 by 3 which is equal to 21,000 into 75 raised to 1 by 3. Therefore, C is equal to 88,560.43 Newton. Now, step 6. It is observed from table 15.5 that the following bearings are available with 75 mm bore diameter, number 6015 C is equal to 39,700 Newton, number 6215 C is equal to 66,300 Newton, number 6315 C is equal to 1,12,000 Newton, number 6415 C is equal to 1,53,000 Newton. Therefore, bearing number 6315 is selected for the above application. Now, table 15.5 indicates dimensions and static and dynamic load capacities of single rod deep groove ball bearing. Therefore, dimensions are there: small d, capital D. Then B is nothing but width, basic load ratings, that is C and C naught designation. Now, this is the fuse table for different diameters. It indicates static and dynamic load. C means static load capacity, C naught means dynamic load capacity, and this is the designation of the bearing. Therefore, this is the table. Therefore, while selecting a ball bearing from the manufacturer's catalog, very often a term series of the bearing is used. Some manufacturers use terms such as light series, medium series, and heavy series for a given diameter of the shaft. The dimensions of balls and races are smaller in the light series. The load capacities are less and cost is also less. For the same shaft diameter, the dynamic load carrying capacity of the bearing belonging to the heavy series is more and the cost is also more. The trial and error method for the selection of a ball bearing begins with the light series. If that is not suitable, a medium series being selected. The last choice is the costliest heavy series bearing. Therefore, a rolling contact bearing is usually designated by 3 or 4 digits. The meaning of these digits is as follows. The last 2 digits indicate the bore diameter of the bearing in mm, bore diameter divided by 5. For example, XX07 indicates a bearing of 35 mm bore diameter, that is 7 into 5 is equal to 35. The third digit from the right side indicates the series of the bearing. The numbers used to indicate the series are as follows: extra light series 1, light series 2, medium series 3, heavy series 4. For example, X307 indicates a medium series ball bearing with a bore diameter of 35 mm. The fourth digit and sometimes fifth digit from the right specifies the type of rolling contact bearing. For example, the digit 6 indicates deep groove ball bearing. Light series bearings permit smallest bearing width and outer diameter for a given bore diameter. They have lowest load carrying capacities. Medium series bearings have 30 to 40% higher load dynamic load carrying capacities compared with light series bearings of the same bore diameter. However, they occupy more radial and axial space. Heavy series bearings have 20 to 30% higher dynamic load carrying capacities compared with medium series bearings of the same bore diameter. The ISO plan for the dimension series of the bearings is illustrated in figure. It consists of 2 digit numbers. The first number indicates the width series 8, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in order of increasing width. The second number indicates the diameter series 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order of ascending outer diameter of the bearing. Figures 15.7b shows the proportionate dimensions of escape bearings belonging to different series with a 50 mm bore diameter. that is bearing number 6010, 6210, 6310, and 6410. Now this is the dimensions of the bearings. See that this is the dimension series, this is the width series. See that different widths are there: 60, 62, 63, 64. These are the series, different widths are there. This is the dimension series, this is the diameter. So diameter series means dimension of series bearings. Therefore, please wait, I will write your attendance.